Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Dodge Challenger Scat Pack. And the reason I wanted to review this car is I feel like this is at a good price point, obviously, to get a really solid muscle car. It's not a $70,000 Hellcat, it's definitely a lot more affordable. So, as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the Challenger, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Provo, Utah for providing us with the Challenger. Check out their inventory in the link below. Under the hood here, we have a naturally aspirated 6.4 liter Hemi V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 485 horsepower and then 475 foot-pounds of torque, with fuel economy being 15 around town and then 24 on the highway. You can also get a 6-speed manual with this. Now let's go over things on the front end of the Challenger. So you've got the hood from the Hellcat, or at least the hood that used to be on the Hellcats. The Hellcats now have like the dual snorkel, but they used to have this hood. Scat Pack kind of stole it. You've got the projector bulbs up front, and you've got the cool little LED halos that go around the lights. Obviously it says RT on it since it is a Scat Pack. Those are just the guards for the front splitter. You can take those off. You got the little kind of light there on the side, also a reflector. And other than that, it just has that nice old school muscle car look, which just kind of like all the sharp lines and then obviously just the boxy edges. Now coming around to the side, we've got a lot of power and not enough tire. 245mm on the tires, 20-inch rims. Those are also 245mm and 20-inch. And then you've got the 6.4 liter badging there on the side. And then other than that, you do get the little fuel cap there on the side finished in black to kind of match this whole blacked out look. But here is a side profile on the 2020 Challenger. I did review a V6 Challenger earlier, and this key fob is going to be important for why I like this car more than the V6. I can't tell you why, but you'll see in a second. You've got your unlock, your lock, the trunk release, and then the reason why I like this more than the V6. I mean, it's not really like a super important reason, but I mean, I feel like that's a good reason. Press it again and then that'll shut it right off, and then if you press this button twice, that'll unlatch the trunk, but you've got to do the rest of the work yourself. So you've actually just got to come up here, pick up the trunk. The opening on it's actually a pretty decent size. You can fold down those seats if you need. Got a couple of like floor mats back here, boxes, all that kind of stuff. Now there is a loop right here, and if you pick that up, then you can see that there's a decent amount of storage right there in the center. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty good in that little area. And then when you're all done with everything, you just gotta pop that down and good to go. Now, finishing things in the rear, we've got the little Scat Pack logo there on the back of the rear spoiler. You got the full LED taillights with the Dodge logo on the back. You got the parking sensors all throughout the rear, dual outlet exhaust, which you guys already heard that. And again, this kind of has that old school muscle car aesthetic in the back, just kind of a little bit rounded off there on the side, but again, it's just like straight lines. One touch to lock it, and then to unlock it, you just have to put your hand on the back of the door handle, and then it'll unlock. It's very quiet though, so you gotta kind of look at that little thing to know that it's unlocked. Before we go over the whole door panel situation, we gotta do the best part of the video. So gotta move the seatbelt out of the way. Just kind of grab this and move the seat forward. I don't know why I'm doing this, but you guys might know why I'm doing this. So the seat moved forward-ish enough. We can get into the back, and well, this is gonna be fun. So kind of gotta squeeze really hard to get back here. And well, I'm not gonna put the seat back because you can see here, I mean, you can have like some legs, but you can't really have like much legs. So if you have like half legs, yeah, if you have like half legs, then you can fit back here from like a legroom perspective. Headroom back here's decent. I'm like barely touching the ceiling, but again, I'm about 5'11", so most kids and everything could fit back here. They actually do get these soft touch armrests in the back. Here's plastic, but right here is actually soft touch. Obviously they do get the little kind of center console, but they can't really use that. Vents right there. They still get the cool little Alcantara on the seats, and you actually get cup holders in the back. So yeah, pretty luxurious life. And now I've got to figure out how to get out of here. Now actually getting into the door panel here, I'm noticed that they've done kind of like this nice soft touch all throughout the door panel, nice stitching as well, just to kind of bring up the quality here. This is definitely softer than the top portion, and here is way softer. You're actually going to rest your arm. You get the window controls here, a couple mirror controls, little door handle down there. It does have the Alpine sound system, and then here are the seats in the front. They've got the little Scat Pack logo right there. white contrasted stitching. And they got the adjustment on the side of the seat with the lumbar support. Pedal layout down below, nothing too special there. We've got our light controls, and then that is for the trunk release, and the steering wheel is actually automatically adjustable. But here's kind of one more look at the front cockpit before we head inside. Up the Scat Pack, just put your foot on the brake, push the push start. Say 392 there on the gauge cluster. That will come to life, and you'll hear beautiful V8 sounds. Here's our steering wheel in the Scat Pack. Obviously you got the Dodge logo in the center, cruise control on that side. And then on the other side, you got your little center stack. We'll go over that in a minute. Voice commands. You do get paddles on the back of the steering wheel to shift the gears yourself. And then you do get the radio controls just underneath these little paddles on the steering wheel. Nice leather, so it's really smooth here. Where you actually grab the steering wheel is a little bit grippier. With the leather, it's got those little perforations in it. And then you've got the stock here for the windshield wipers, flashing the brights, and then also turn signal. Now with our gauge cluster, note that it says 180 miles an hour. So it's pretty cool that the speedo goes up that high. Got the RPMs over on the left side, and then the center screen is just like all the other upgraded Dodges. I think the performance little segment is the coolest part. So it kind of gives you all that different information you can see just in the center screen. Braking distance is pretty cool. G-forces is also pretty cool. Lap timer. But, ooh, top speed 68 miles an hour. Someone's taking this out on the highway. But, yeah, pretty typical if it went on a test drive, you know what I mean. Here's our center infotainment system, and you do get vents around it. Now if we put it into reverse, the backup camera will pop up, and you get little trajectory lines that will turn with it, and you guys can also see kind of like the resolution on it. Now putting it back into park, you do get a couple controls. You've got the heated seats, and the heated steering wheel does have ventilated seats as well. And then dual zone climate for the front, which you can control up here. The other cool stuff on this, the SRT mode, so you can go into the different drive modes. So you can go into like sport, for example. You can also go into the track mode. There is the custom mode, which is pretty nice. And then it does have a valet eco mode. Don't ever use that if you get this car, that's all I'm saying. The other nice thing is just the performance pages. Those take forever to load up, but I showed those on a bunch of my Dodge performance vehicles, also on like the Jeep performance vehicles. Just shows you stuff like how much real-time horsepower you're making, and yeah, it's pretty simple there. Coming down from the touch screen, we've got all of our analog controls for like the radio. You got like the drive modes that you can press, so you just press that and then you can go into the drive modes. It also pulls up the launch control. So the launch control works by once you have 500 miles in the car, all you have to do is just hold your foot down on the brake and then put your other foot on the gas all the way, release the brake, and then the car will launch at the set RPM. So you can see that you can set it between those two different ranges. And then that's the button to turn on the launch control. Once you can use it, you got your climate controls. Here's that shifter for the 8-speed automatic. Now it's pretty easy to get it through the different gears. It's getting mad at me because don't have my seatbelt on or anything. It does have a manual shift mode if you want to shift the gears yourself with those little paddles, or you can use a shifter. Couple cup holders, and then here's the center console. It does face towards the driver, which is pretty typical on two-door cars, I've noticed. You do get a bunch of little charging stations with a little 12-volt in there. And then finally, we've got the glove box again lined with felt, and you guys can see just how large that is. Up top here, we've got the little sunglass holder, and then it does have a sunroof, just a normal sunroof. Full black headliner here in the Challenger, light controls, and yeah, other than that, everything up top is pretty simple, which is probably what you'd want in a muscle car. Now we are going to go over pricing, and actually do have the window sticker, but I do want to mention that I like the stitching that they're doing. Even though it's on stuff that isn't necessarily the nicest material, it's kind of just like this rubberized plastic, the stitching does make it appear like it is nicer material, so at least they're kind of making an effort to make the Challenger interior just look a little bit nicer, even if it doesn't have the nicest feel to it. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, pricing. So we can see the base price on a Scat Pack now for 2020 is $38,995. Here are the options that this particular one has. You have the Plus package, convenience group, Alpine, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. Total price, $49,960. Yeah, let's take this Scat Pack out to see how it drives. Talk about visibility before we set off here in the Challenger. So visibility over the hood is really solid, and then we can see visibility through both of the mirrors as well. Super solid, and they do have blind spot monitoring. Now you can see visibility all throughout the rear, a little bit cramped, but that blind spot monitor is going to help out in these headrests. Very soft. Now we already have it in drive, so let's fully set off here. And initially setting off, what I'm kind of noticing on the Challenger is this has an immense amount of torque, and so it's kind of jumpy, if that makes sense. Let's make sure that GMC is not going all the way around. Okay, so it's kind of jumpy. And what I mean by that is it has so much torque, 475 foot-pounds, I cannot talk, and it's hard to like just drive normal and ease into the throttle. The car just kind of almost, it doesn't lurch forward in like an uncomfortable way. It just has so much power. It does take a moment to just get used to the instant torque and instant power that this car has. That being said though, I feel like you could eventually get used to it to where you can just drive in, you know, a much smoother fashion. Initially setting off here with the Challenger, did take me a second, but I'm kind of used to the throttle, so you've just got to very lightly get into it, because if you get into it even a little bit, I mean, it just kind of jumps on you. But the ride quality on this is really smooth. This would be kind of like a really good GT cruiser, so to call it, where you could just put a ton of miles on the car very comfortably. In terms of the noise, do hear a little bit with the tires, but it's actually pretty minimal. Definitely a ton of noise from the exhaust. I mean, that 6.4 liter V8 is loud. It is a very loud engine, but it's good noises for sure. I just really like the sound of it. Definitely has that muscle car sound to it, and obviously with all the torque, it definitely has that muscle car feel to it. We are finally getting a turn here, and it's super hard to turn here in Provo because people are bad at driving. But anyways, let's get an acceleration now. Oh yeah, it's got some power. I mean, you don't even have to go full on into the throttle. It's peppy, and I mean, that 8-speed automatic is a good pairing with this. This could still be drivable with a manual, unlike the Hellcat. The Hellcat's almost undrivable with a manual transmission. This one, you still could drive it with the manual transmission, but yeah, this 8-speed automatic, I feel like it's a really good pairing. It's quick enough on the shifting, and it's just good. I mean, you guys, I'll put it into the manual mode here, and you can see it very, very quickly just goes through those downshifts. So, I mean, it's a perfect transmission for this car. To wrap things up here on the Challenger, obviously if you want those old school muscle car aesthetics, then this is definitely going to be the route to go. And this is what I'm talking about, is like, these people don't put their turn signal on, so I don't know if they're turning or what they're doing. But yeah, anyways, if you want those old school muscle car aesthetics, then yes, this definitely is going to have that. New G-Wagon. Getting too distracted here. But also, if you want that old school muscle car performance, big V8, tons of torque, tons of horsepower, and obviously if you don't want to break the bank, I mean, a Hellcat is like 30 grand more than this car, and yeah, this doesn't have 700 horsepower and a supercharger, but it's still more than enough power, and you get up to illegal speeds so quickly in this car that, I mean, it almost just makes sense, because you can have a ton of fun in this car, save yourself a ton of money, and I mean, it's not like you can use all that power in a Hellcat unless you have like an airstrip or something like that, which I bet someone does. But yeah, that's it. And there we have it, everyone, the all-new 2020 Dodge Challenger Scat Pack. It's a super awesome car, obviously, with the big V8, crazy powerful, all that kind of stuff, and a little bit too much power maybe. But anyways, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Provo, Utah for providing us with the Scat Pack. Check out their inventory in the link below if you're in the market for a new Dodge.